live. Today we're starting out with 399. All right. Our first email comes to us from Reb David Feinberg, who's sitting right here. So if he has any ha'aris, I got it. It's off. Dear Eli, thank you for your tireless efforts in delivering a terrific shir, etc. I could go on with accolades about the shir, the fact that this is my 5th cycle attempting the daf, and my first, exclamation point, in which I've had a 164-day streak. I go on about the 8-minute daf, of which my father's hooked, but there's a more urgent matter to discuss. A very urgent matter. Rabbi Isai, I received numerous emails, tremendous. Recently, numerous voices have been expressed about how to inform the tzibur about transitioning from one Amma to the next. Halavai, this should be our biggest issue. The editor and me has been grappling with this issue for days, and it's time to speak up. In linguistics class, we were taught that languages don't translate. It's true. Take Mechuten, Chalent, or let's say he publishes Svarim, he's a publisher. And from English, speaking circles, that means something different than saying I publish books, even though books is an English translation of Svarim. It's just not the same. Saying I publish Svarim implies the books are of Torah content. One final example. Let's say a guy says he's from Jerusalem. It's not the same thing as saying I'm from Yerushalayim. Bekitzer, what he's saying is you can't just translate the page to Amud. It doesn't work. What he's suggesting is that we say, can you kindly inform the tzibur as follows, continuing on to Amud Beis, or continuing with Kuf Beis, Amud Beis, or Kuf Gimel, Amud Beis. I thank you for your understanding of this matter. I respectfully, David Feinberg. P.S. For those who have had only partial emails read, pay attention. The average person speaks at somewhere between 125 and 150 words per minute. In Eli's case, it's between 150 and 250 words per minute, depending on if it's Amud Aleph or Amud Beis. Keep your email to 400 words or less. Rabbi says he's not joking. It's 390 words to be exact. 399 words. What? Okay, so that's email number 1. Here comes email number 2. David Gladstone. Eli, not Reb Eli or even Rabbi, just Eli. Please continue saying turn the page. You're an American, giving an American English shir. Turn the dafbrama just doesn't sound right. I have a suggestion for you. Get your great IT staff to put up a survey on your website and we'll see who wins, if it's turn the page or not. Thanks for reading my email online, including as part of the 8-minute daf. Gave me a lot of chizuk. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm sure you don't realize the power that you have. Oh, please don't read this online. I'm serious, I didn't realize. Sorry, David from Cedarhurst. I'm serious. I apologize. I really apologize. Be'emet. And here goes. So I just want to read this again. Eli, not Reb Eli or even Rabbi, just Eli. L'chavid Moiri Rabbi Harav Reb Eli Shlita. I'm not kidding you. I've been with you live in Zoom since Chav Gimel Adar, Daf Yud Gimel. I'm loving it very much. The shiurim are really enjoyable and very exciting. I used to stay up till mid. What? Did he say Chav Gimel? No, he said Yud Gimel. Yud Gimel. You got to pay attention, Rabbi Isai. I stay up till midnight. Now I mostly do the afternoon shir. This is from our great friend Yisrael Goldstein. Here, this is what he looks like. Chassidish Ingeman from Borough Park. See? I don't see. Okay. Oh, Eli Dykman knows what I'm talking about. His buddies. Every day when you read out the emails, it gives me chizuk to see that there are so many people that are joining or rejoining the Torah world. Oh, I have to read this one. I missed something here. I used to stay up till midnight. Now I mostly do the afternoon shir. And it was a great feeling having you tuck me in bed with a great shir. But from time to time, even you have mentioned that these emails can sometimes get to your head, and you said it yourself, that it builds up some gaiva. Until last night, when you invested more than a minute of MDY Torah time to praise the greatness of another Magid from across the pond. It shows a tremendous amount of humility. Finally, there's a guy that gets it. To endorse and advertise another so-called competitor. I'm honored to call myself a Talmud of yours, and I consider myself lucky to be part of the RBS MDY Yisrael Goldstein. Geschmack. Rabbi say, when you contemplate this is something you should be thinking about for days, not the, what is gaiva? Gaiva, in my book, means that you think you are better than somebody else. That's how, when you want to say that Pliny is about gaiva, that's what you should look at. Now, do not confuse confidence with gaiva. You hear this, Noam? I'm giving you a speech, how to figure this out. Noam says, him and Yisrael Goldstein, the only two people in the world that think that I'm not about gaiva. So, whatever. Contemplate that. And he was joking, so it's really Yisrael Goldstein alone. Zok the Gemara. Yeah, today's shir is being sponsored by Mrs. Fix. Lilu Nishmas, I don't know if that's her name. Lilu Nishmas, it's Noam Fix's mom. Lilu Nishmas Aaron Yehuda ben Yosef. And Latzlochas, HaChoshuv, Nehemiah, it says here HaChoshuv. HaBochor HaChoshuv, Nehemiah ben Eloyafa. I hope I got that right. Eliyafa. All right, we're holding Daf Kuf Beis on the bottom. Boimenei Rav Nosson bar Ishaya mirab Yochanan. So we had a machlokes yesterday. We brought 3 cases of different things. Mesates, chiseling out a stone. Now, I didn't point out yesterday, but we could point it out today. That Rashi says an amazing thing. If you think about it, when you chisel out a stone, a Yerushalayim stone, Yerushalmi stone, all these buildings have Yerushalmi stones, and you take, the stones have little nicks in them that a guy took a chisel and went like that. Is that a makeh b'patish? One chisel, yes. Says Rashi amazingly. He says that one chisel is considered makeh b'patish because you're not going back to that same spot to chisel it again. Okay, Kiddush. So what is misates? We had a machlokes Rav and Shmuel. Rav says boina, Shmuel says makeh b'patish. Says the Gemara, so he asked, Rav Nosson asked Rabbi Yochanan, misates mishumay mechayev. What do you think, Rabbi Yochanan? Ach v'lei biyadei mishum makeh b'patish. He went like this. He didn't say anything. He just took a fist and he went, or like this. Whatever he did, he banged his hand like a hammer. Makeh b'patish, not boina. V'anatnan hamisates v'hamakeh b'patish. There's a vav. It's 2 separate melachos. Eimo hamisates hamakeh b'patish. Take off the vav. And that's why you're left with misates, which is a makeh b'patish, not and makeh b'patish. Toshma, daf kuf gimel omid aleph. Hakudeach kol shu chayav. If you drill a small amount, in other words, you don't really go through. Now, why do you drill? You drill so that you pre-drill, and then you fill it up with a nail or something. That's why you drill. So it's 2 steps. Bishlam l'rav. Rav says that if I make a hole on top of a chicken coop, that's also boina. I'm releasing the bad smell and the heat or whatever. That's boina. So if I make a hole with a drill, that's boina. Now that Rashi explains it beautifully, we understand what the kasha is. Since drilling is only step 1, step 2 is to fill it up with a screw. So because you made a hole with a drill, that's not a makeh b'patish. That's not the finishing touch. The finishing touch is to insert a peg in there or something. Yes, you did stick in a long nail, a metal nail. You left a little bit sticking out so you can hang your coat on it. You made a little bit of a hook. Yes, you're right. It's not the drilling, rather it's the inserting of the nail. Ze'aklal. So anytime it says in the Mishnah, Ze'aklal, it always comes to include something. What does it include in our Mishnah? Ze'aklal, la'asuyei mai, la'asuyei dochak kefizo bekaba. So, says Rashi, there's a shear called a kav, and a guy did 3/4 of it. Now, he himself intends to continue on and going to the full kav, but he's over right now. Why? Because there's other guys in different places that they're good with 3/4. That's the shear. They use it as a box, and all they need is 3/4 of a kav. They don't need a full kav. So, Mamela, for you, that's considered boina. It's interesting to point out, Rabbeinu Chananel disagrees completely with Rashi. He says that if, like these guys right over here, I was just reminded, I don't know if I ever told you, as a kid, my father is a learner. He still is, but he never went to Kailo. He never had money. He never had a job. He refused to take money for learning. So we went to a pizza shop once a year. That was our thing. We never went to a restaurant. We went to a pizza shop. So we went to Mendelssohn's Pizza Erev Pesach. That was the big thing, the big trip. And my mom would buy 1 can of soda for the whole family, and she would fill it up to the second Shemaim. This is what she called it. So these lines, these are the kavs. This is how I grew up, Rabbi say. Put it in the book over there. So this kav, it says Rabbeinu Chanal, these are kavim. Like if you have a measuring cup, you make a notch. That's a kav, not a kav of food like 4 lugin worth. A kav, a real line. Fine. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Oimer Hamake bekurnos ala sadon. By the way, if we don't get pizza 4 times a week, my kids throw a fit. You read this Hadoiris. Like Big Apple Pizza, one of the most famous things. My kid calls up, and the guy says, "Okay, I'll be there in 20 minutes, even though the delivery is usually an hour. I don't need your credit card. I don't need your address. I don't need anything. I know it all about peh." Ma'aseh Shaya. Reb Shimon Gamliel Oimer Hamake bekurnas ala sadon. My kovid. So this sadon, this anvil thing, we said he's not really producing metal. It's not a heated metal. He's knocking his hammer directly on this strong piece of sadon. I don't know if you remember, we once pointed out, there's a Taisa, I forgot where it is already. But when the Gemara, the Taisa says that there was a material, I forgot where it was, Amid Bay somewhere. It was such a strong material that he brings a medrash. They once banged this material on the sadon, and it broke the sadon, this anvil. So the point is, it's really, really strong. If you want to give an example of something that's really strong, very strong material, it's this. You can take a hammer and bang it all day. Nothing happens to this. What happens is the hammer gets damaged. So what are you doing? Why is it awesome to bang your hammer on that? You're training yourself. It's like what is it called? A boxing bag. Is that what it's called? A punching bag. Thank you. A punching bag. So you go like this with the hammer. You want to train. Says the Gemara, what, you're not allowed to train on Shabbos? You're not allowed to watch somebody and learn how to do something? Like, what is the issue exactly to learn how to do a melach on Shabbos? Right? We just had the whole sugya of the crushing from the Mishkan. They were very heavy. And if you add the gold layer, depending how thick you make that layer, it could be 3 tons, it could be 1 ton. There was a ton of gold going on. And they had to make it nice and smooth over the crushing. So what did they do? Explains Rashi. They take the hammer and they went 1, 2, 3, bang. They banged it into this anvil. 1, 2, 3, pff, 1, 2, 3 is like a drum. Because you want to make sure that your hammer is completely smooth, doesn't have any nicks in it, because if it has nicks, it'll ruin your gold. Says Rashi, in his place, even in his days in France 1,000 years ago, this is how they would make it. This is how they make coins. 3 to 1. What? But that's not what he says. He doesn't say anything about warming. Did I make a brach on this? I realized I didn't. By the way, I got an email yesterday, 2 emails. One from Yoni Meisels, who watches the shir like the whole day. Every time you go into the money change, you'll see him watching the thing. And then I didn't check it up, but then I got another email, and it says about a guy that writes books, that he was probably, his head was somewhere else, and he didn't correct me that I missed 3 lines of Gemara yesterday. So why don't you say something?
Because every time I say, no, I didn't. I really said it.
Chas v'shalom. That is your official job. And if
Usually if
I'm going to kick.
I said it.
If that's not what, if you don't do that, if you're not good on your job, I'm going to have to find somebody else. You have to decide. Chas v'shalom.
Oh my gosh.
That is your job. That is your job. Otherwise, I'm going to get these emails. No, you have to let me know. He can't admit that he pushed it. It's right over his head.
You know we're going to read your book in the bathroom.
That's what because I said something about his book. So like, I'll show you, but don't worry, I made it up. I do the night shir. I didn't miss the words. I can make a siyum. Shekain merade de tasi mishkan oisin kain. Tain lame ochi. Reb Shimon Gamliel oimer af hamaki bekurnos ala sadim shas melacha chayav. So if you bang your hammer on this anvil, Shekain merade de tasi mishkan. This is what they did in the Mishkan to make the gold oisin kain. Says the Mishnah. We're going through all the melachos. There's 39 melachos. You got to go through all of them. Hachoresh, plowing the field. Kol shehu. The Gemara explains, even for one seed. Hamanakesh, removing the weeds. What's the problem with that? You make the soil better, other things could grow quicker. That is zoreya. Vameraksem vamezored. These are the same action, it's the same thing, it's pruning, but the first one is dry twigs, vamezored is moist. Kol shehu. Again, now the tree is going to grow better. It's zoreya, chayav. Hamalaket eitzim. Rashi learns, very interesting, because if you just read the words, you think malaket means to gather wood. Rashi reads that it's from a live tree. Now, when it comes to a live tree, it has to do with your intent. It could be different things that you're doing. So, im letakein, if you're trying to fix the tree, kol shuin, even a kol shu. Im lehesek, if you want to heat up your house, kidei levashul beitzakala, as we said many times, a chicken's egg. How much of a chicken's egg? Gregeres, shkoyach. Hamalaket asavim, if you're gathering grasses, depends. In letaken, if you're trying to fix up the ground to make it grow, other things grow better, kolshu. Zireya, kolshu. In lebehema, but if you're gathering enough grass to feed your animal, kimloi piagdi, like the smallest type of animal that you typically feed, which is a goat. Says the Gemara, chayresh that we said is kolshu, lemay chazi, what can you do with it? What are you going to, one little tiny hole? Chazi lebizra dikara. Says Rashi, so first of all, kara means pumpkin, one pumpkin. Rashi asks a beautiful question here, we have to see inside. You see, right where it says Gemara, inside, for pumpkin. The famous Gemara, when it comes to Yitzah, it's 2 seeds of a pumpkin. All of a sudden now it's 1. We said over there that a person doesn't go out and plant 1. That's different when it comes to carrying. The person is never going to plant 1, go out to plant. Each and every hole is an individual act, and therefore one hole is considered the act of charisha. Ulshin we had is endives. What? Which one? I don't. No, I did not. Yishkoyach. The kavasa gabe Mishkan we had by the Mishkan shekain roy lekelach echad shel samonim. In the Mishkan, they would do charisha for 1 spice to make dye. Hamanakish v'amekaysev v'amizar. Torah Rabbanan. Toilish ulshin is endives. V'hamizared zradim if you prune reeds. Im la'achila. Now, Rashi explains there's 3 stages when it comes to endives. Very interesting. When they're very soft for human consumption, they get a little harder for animal consumption. Harder than that is for fuel, for heating your house. So, im la'achila, if it's soft, kigregeres, human consumption. Im lebehema, for animals, kimloi piagdi, that's your typical animal amount. The size of the smallest mouth of the typical animal that you feed, the smallest animal, is a gdi. Im lehesek, if it's to fuel your house, kadei levashel beitzakala, a chicken's egg. Im liyapis karka. So very interesting, depending on the stage that it's at, what your intent is. If you're trying to make the ground better for planting, kol shehin. Fine, kol shehin. Now this actually launches us into a very famous sugya, a very deep sugya, and we are going to go through it in about 24 seconds only. Anytime you remove something from the ground, it's going to beautify the ground. It's going to make the ground better. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yosef Damer Tavayu Bagam Shanu. You don't care about it. It's some sort of. Everybody has to suffer with the ulshin. Fine. We'll try to get a better picture on there. We're talking about some sort of, what is it called? The mash, the swamp. And what word did I don't want to say something else. The swamp, yeah.
Swamp doesn't need you to.
Marsh. I want to say marsh. Thank you. Mash. Face me. The swamp. Swamp is a better word. Ba'agam shanu. So who cares about? It's not his swamp. He doesn't care. It could be in a regular field. Ukigoin deloy kamechavin. We hold like Reb Shimon that davar she'eino miskaven. He didn't intend to do it. He didn't intend to beautify the field. He just intended to use it for food. He wanted to eat it. So you're looking at me, whoa, what are you looking? No, you're anticipating the next question. Ask the Gemara of Abaye v'Rav Adam Tarvayu Moider Reb Shimon b'psikreisha v'layamos. What are you telling me? He picked the ulshan from the ground. He picked whatever it is from the ground to eat, and he wanted it to eat. Now, happens to be that his field is now in a better position to plant other stuff. He made it better. Isn't that a psikreisha v'layamos? You're going to chop an animal's head off. V'layamos, it's not going to die. Of course it's going to die, so of course you're chayiv. So over here, I beautified my field. Okay, I didn't want to, but I did it. By me removing the ulshan from the ground, now I can plant next year again. Says the Gemara, Lo tzricha deka'avid ba'ara dechavrei. I did it in my friend's field. This is what we call psikreisha deloy nichalei. Yes, I'm going to chop off the animal's head and he's going to die, but I don't care. I don't care. I don't want him to die. Says Rashi, Lo ichbas liapos. He doesn't care if it's better or not. Tosfos points out it's an enemy. Interesting that when we had something similar when it came to the chilazon and tchelas, you're going to squeeze the tchelas out of the chilazon. We said, Rashi says over there, he doesn't want him to die. It's not good for him to die because the longer he lives, the better the blue is. Over here he says, Lo yichbas lei. But we have a concept called psikreisha deloy nichalei. Yes, he is going to die. You don't care about it. You don't want it. So memela, it's mutter. It's potter. Says Tosfos, he brings the aruch that he says psikreisha deloy nichalei. You can see inside. Lo tzricha David ba'ara dechavrei. He says. Pirush Baruch, the psikreisha deloy nichalei ki going to David ba'ara dechavrei going ba'acha sheinu oyav. He doesn't like him. You cut something off during the Mila, he has zero hana. Mutter lechatchila, says the Aruch. I'm allowed to go, there's no issa d'rabbanan even. I'm allowed to go and do lechatchila, psikreisha deloy nichalei. And therefore, hitter Rebbe Chavis shepkaku bepishtan. You have somebody stopped the barrel of wine with cotton, let's say, and it's full of wine, and now when you remove it in order to drink the wine, what's going to happen? The wine from inside the cotton is going to spill on the floor. You're squeezing it, you're soichet it, right? Automatically, if you're going to grab a piece of a cotton bowl full of wine, what's going to happen? 100% wine is going to go on the floor. So he says, you're allowed to do it. You don't want the wine to fall on the ground, the opposite. You want to save the wine. So by you doing it, even though it's a psikreisha, it's 100% going to happen, it's lo nichalei, mutter. But Tosfos argues on the Aruch, and the other Rishonim argue on him. So anyways, we have a concept of psikreisha. If you want to go into deeply, I don't know that Tzruli Bornstein spoke about it, because a lot of times he gives a lot of raid bite on other topics, not necessarily on the daf, just gishmaka stuff. But everybody discusses this. This is one of those famous sugyas, psikreisha le'nichalei, daf kuf gimel amid aleph. Says the Mishnah. Now we're going backwards on the Lamites Melachos. We're working our way backwards from end to the beginning. We're holding by writing. Says the Mishnah, if you write two letters, that's the shiur. Whether you write with your right hand or your left hand. The Gemara is going to explain, or are we talking about a righty or a lefty? Whether it's the same exact letter, like Aleph and Aleph. Whether you write Aleph or a Beis. Samaniyos, whether you write it with ink and another type of thing, a sikra. B'chaloshain, in any language, in English, A, B, or A, chayav. Rabbi Yossi lechivu shtei oisos elam shum roishin. Comes Rabbi Yossi and says that the two letters were because in the Beis HaMikdash they made a little mark on the crushing, so that this carriage goes here and tomorrow it's there, like on Sukkos. Your mark. So it's not necessarily a letter. You don't have to do a letter. You could also make a mark. You can make an X. You can make a V. They line up nicely, now you know to put it over there. Now, question. Why in the world did they mark up the Krushim in the Beis HaMikdash? Levi knows the answer. Why? They were all identical. They were exactly the same. So why can't I use this keresh over there? Says Rashi, that once I put a keresh closer to the Kodesh HaKadoshim, that's its place. You don't move it forever. Now I saw today in the Ran. What?
It's closer to Kodesh Kodashim. It's a higher level of kedusha. You can't
That's what he explained. That's exactly what he's saying. I think something on those lines. Once it got its place, you don't move it. What?
The towel, same thing. The Torah is there, so you don't accidentally use the bottom side, the top. Once you use the top, that's the top.
That's something else, I think, maybe, because the tzitzis that go in the front always stay in the front, and the tzitzis in the back. You have to be makbid on that. I don't know if it's the same idea.
It doesn't matter. That's why the Shabbat don't have a thing.
Okay, I'm saying the Mishnah Berurah brings that whole thing. I don't know if it's for the same halach. I'm not sure. Anyway, but the Ran says, you want to look up the Ran, a very interesting Ran in the back of the Gemara, that he says that there's only one difference. If a person, he brings a case where people used to go to the Nasi to ask questions, but one of them decided to go learn Torah. And because he went to learn Torah, they pushed him to the front. People that go learn Torah, they go to the front. And then he brings also the thing of that Talmid Chacham Mamzer, a Mamzer, but he's a Talmid Chacham, comes before a Kohen Am Haaretz. Kohen Gadol Am Haaretz, right, thank you. Says the Gemara, Talmid Chacham, a Mamzer Talmid Chacham comes before a Kohen Gadol Am Haaretz. And at a different time, there's a whole Rabbi Yanki Galinsky on that. Omar Rabbi Yossi, Lo yichiv zevayzim mishum roishim, shekach koisim al-karsham Mishkan leida ize ben zugoy. Omar Rabbi Yehuda, Matzinu shem kata mishem gadol. In other words, if a person had intent to write a long word, but he ended up writing the smaller word shin mem out of shimoin, for instance, shem mishimoin, he wrote shin mem from Shimon, u mishmuel, or from the word Shmuel. Noach, he wrote nun ches menachar, down midaniel, God migadiel, then he's chayev. Ask the Gemara, Bishloima ayamin l'chayev mishum the derech ksivukach. When it comes to melachos Shabbos, it's always how you write, how you do. You have to do it in the normal fashion. So if you're a righty and you write with your right hand, great. Why is a person who's a righty who writes with his left hand, should he be chayiv? That's not the usual manner, and therefore he should be pater. We're talking about a lefty. Ask the Gemara, a lefty, so then why is he chayiv with the right hand? He's ambidextrous. He could do it with both hands. He's a switch hitter. Or it doesn't mean that he's 100% in both, but he's comfortable with his left. Chaim Oizer. Or if you go on YouTube, there's many people in the world that could write in different languages in two hands. Rabbi Yaakov, because I looked it up once. We were saying, Chaim Oizer, I want to see, like, is it like a... Yeah. No, yeah, of course not. This is a whole different level, writing at the same time. Yeah. He wrote Shuvas, right, this.
You write it with your hand in your mouth, and your teeth.
You want to know if that's what?
Is that a shinui?
Yeah, of course. But yesterday we had that if a guy carries with his mouth, and he decided that's the way he's carrying, so he made it the derech. Rabbi Yaakov Bereder, that's a different thing. We're going to get to there. Rabbi Yaakov Bereder, the Bas Yaakov Omar, there was a person that they never called him by his father's name. He wasn't a proper person. They called him the daughter, the Bas Yaakov. Berei, the Bas Yaakov, the son of the daughter of Yaakov. So he says, no, we could go back to that he was a righty. He's a righty. You asked me if he's a righty. It's not the derech to write with the left. Hamani Rabbi Yoisihi. This is the Rabbi Yosi in our Mishnah. The Omar lechivu shtei oisis elam mishum roishim. That you try to mark up. It's a marking. It's not writing. It's a different melacha marking. So anybody can mark up a board with his left hand. You don't have to write nicely. You just go like this with a magic marker, and you have a nice line somewhere. As the Gemara in the Sefer Rabbi Yosi, Reish Alav Rabbi Yosi. In the middle of the Mishnah, we have a sheet of Rabbi Yosi, meaning that the first part wasn't Rabbi Yosi. Kula Rabbi Yosi, A lot of times we have where like the Tana kind of forgot, it's Rabbi Yossi, but the whole thing is Rabbi Yossi. He should have said, Omer Rabbi Yossi, the whole Mishnah from beginning. Or Rabbi Yehuda Matzinu, El Rabbi Yehuda Shtei Yosef Vein Shtei Shemo Yisuda Mechayev. Now it says in the Mishnah, it seems like, yeah. I'm listening.
What's the Kiddush of an ambidextrous? Both hands are right. What's the Kiddush according to Mishnah?
Why does it say it?
Yeah, what's the Kiddush? It's dark on both ways.
Yeah, but it's not, I would say, because most people in the world, left is not the way to do it. So if he does it, he's batal daitil sekol adam kind of thing. Maybe Kamash Malon that this person, I don't know.
The Ritva explains that.
The Ritva explains that what?
It's not that he writes with both hands the same way. He writes with this
Maybe what I was saying. Basically that he's not 100% a lefty. He's ambidextrous, that he could do, he prefers the right, but he also uses the left. Kamash Malon that's enough for him. That's what the Ritva says? Okay. I kind of stuck that in. You see, without even chapping that the Ritva says it. Gevaldik.
What a Rebbe.
Unbelievable. Or no, this is Gaiva, because I stole it from the Ritva, pretended it was my own. Yes. Yeah, but when he asked me the question, I was like, whoa, Taka, what's the pshat? So it couldn't be that I stole, because if I known it was the Ritva, I would have said the pshat. Okay, whatever. Yesh Lacher, those guys on that side, Yisrael Goldstein holds like that pshat, the rest of the world like that pshat. It seems like only Shem Shimon, if he has two good letters that make up a word, right? He says Mefurish, Shem Mishimon. Shem means a name. Mishimon is a name. But it means something. Shin Mem means a word. That's a word in Hebrew, Shem. But what if a guy wrote Gimel Tes, whatever, it doesn't mean, so then he wouldn't be chayav. What? Oh, that's a get. It's not on my mind. These are words that are not on my mind. Tes Gimel, that's a tag, that's also a word, thank you. That's not how you spell it. Okay. I'll go upon him. Aleph. Right, Aleph.
No, that's still a word.
Sheish Tat Gag Chach. Okay, fine. We're going to see in the Gemara soon. Right. Correct. So Menachem is right. I did learn it, but I forgot. It says, Rashi says, we're talking about two of the same letters, but they make their word. Shin means 6. Sheish. Taste, to put on. We'll see later on. Gag, Gimel. But it seems like from the Mishnah that it has to be two different letters. Shin and a mem, not Gimel. Okay. Now how could that be? How could you say that Rabbi Yehuda holds that it has to be two separate letters when Rabbi Yehuda says specifically two of the same letters? What do we have here? We have a bunch of different shitas. When it comes to shoygeg, the pasuk says, "Da'ber b'nei Yisrael leimor nefesh kisechta b'shgogo mekol mitzvahs Hashem asher lo yisasena v'asa me'achas mehenas." We're going to see later. I have a nice picture of it. So he learns like this: v'asa achas. He does one aveira. Yochal at shichtav kol Hashem. Maybe he has to write the entire word. He wanted to write Shimon. He has to finish it. V'avachi yargis kol habeged. He has to weave the whole entire beged. Avachi yasa kol hanapa. This is the napa. He's making himself a little bit of a sieve or whatever it is, and he started it out. Maybe he has to go all the way here. No, enough to start it out. Do two little. He does shesi ve'eriv. He's doing the eriv on the shesi. That's enough. 2. Tamaloymar meyachas with a mem from one part of it. So maybe it's enough one letter. Meyachas, one letter. Says the Gemara. Maybe one of these guys in the napa. Why do you need 2? Says the Gemara. And now we're holding Daf Gimel and Beis. Tamaloymar achas. Ho keitzad. Who is this? Tanakama, Shem Mishimon, Umishmuel, Noyach Menachar. No, it has to be 2 letters from He intended to write a whole long word, and then he stopped after 2, Shin Mem, Nun Ches, Dalid Nun, Dan Midaniel, God Migadil. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, look, this is Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah. All of a sudden, Rabbi Yehuda says a completely different thing. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, right? Because this sheet that we just said, Shem Shimon, is in our Mishnah said by Rabbi Yehuda. Comes Rabbi Yehuda in this brisa. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Afilo Yikasav El Shtei Oisiyos. No, it doesn't have to be Shin Mem. Veim Shem Echad. That's why this is where Rashi got it from. Kigain Chayev. Kigain Sheish. Taste. To put, to give. Rar. To ooze. Gag. A roof. Chach is a bracelet. It means something, but it's 2 of the same. But it's different than Shin Mem. Shin Mem is more of writing. Gimel Gimel is like a joke. It's like a kid in school who writes Gimel Gimel 100 times. Yeah, you can make a word out of it. But it's not really a word. We have another sheet called Rabbi Yossi. It's not writing, it's marking. This is what they did in the Mishkan. They made a mark. You made 1 mark from top to bottom on 2. You went right through the 2 boards. Now you know how to line them up nicely. Or he made 2 marks on 1 board. Chayev. Comes Reb Shimon Oimer. Listen to this. Basically, he's repeating the same thing as the Tanakama. Reb Shimon Oimer, v'asa achas, yochal at sheyichtov es kol Hashem. I would think he has to write the entire word. At sheyoreg is kol ha-beged, at sheyas is kol ha-napa. Talmud Oimer, meyachas. He doesn't have to do the whole thing, part of the thing. Oh, part of the thing, maybe he should do the minimum, 1 letter. Im achas yochal afilu lo yikosav lo yisachas, afilu lo regel chut echod, afilu lo yosel lo bayisech benapa. Talmud Oimer, achas. By the way, we had this in the Mishnah. Didn't really explain it over there, but because in the Mishnah it says b'Shabbos. So Rashi points out over there that it's not b'Shabbos. It's miskayim b'Shabbos. You did a malacha on Shabbos. That's miskayim. Whatever. Okay, fine. The melachos showing him how to even read it. The point is, he made a malacha that miskayim. It's nothing to do with Shabbos. Rabbi Yossi Omer, v'asa achas, v'asa heina. We had this sugya, and I looked this up, and I had this chart, and I'm thinking to myself, why in the world did I spend so much time on making, the circles here, but Baruch Hashem I did, because look, we have it again today. This was from Daf Ayin. And actually, Rabbi Yossi learns 4 things. He has 4 diyukim. Number 1, it says meyachas. What should the pasuk say? Achas. A person did 1 aveira. What's meyachas? It should say heina. Heina means many. So it should say heina. What's meheina? Now, achas heina, 1 of many. So he learns 4 halachas, 4 things. Heina shi achas and achas shi heina. It goes back and forth and back. And besides, you can learn from the both mems. You can learn something. So he explains. The Gemara will explain later. Sometimes Yechayev, the Gemara will explain. Sometimes Yechayev 1 chatas for many averes. Sometimes Yechayev on each and every aver. We'll get to it. The point that the Gemara wants to make here is that in our Mishnah says, the Rabbi Yehuda says you have to write Shin Mem, 2 separate letters. Rabbi Yehuda Omer over here about Ktanimiyah. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Afilo Kosav Alo Shtei Oises Vim Shem Echad Chayav. Even he wrote Shin Shin, not Shin Mem. Big nafkamina. Shin Shin means 6. Shin Mem means a name of a person. But according to our Mishnah, Shin Shin 6 is not good according to Rabbi Yehuda. And in the Brisa says you are chayiv. It's considered writing. Lekashya hadidei hadir rabbi. This is Noam's favorite teretz. He's quoting his Rebbe. In the Brisa, he's quoting his Rebbe. Sheish is Rebbe Gamliel, not himself. He doesn't hold of it. The same Rebbe Omer, Mishum Gamliel, afilu leikosav elo beizoises v'mshem echad chayev. Kigoin sheish, teis, ror, gag, chach. Ask the Gemara, Reb Shimon Hainu Tanakama. What does Reb Shimon in this Brisa add that the Tanakama didn't say? Tanakama said Shem Mishimon, and Reb Shimon says the same thing basically. V'chi teima. Aleph, Aleph, da'azercha. So over here you have 2 letters that come one after another, but don't mean anything. If you write it by themselves. Aleph, Aleph means nothing. Ikibenayu, in that case, is a nafkamina. Shin, Shin, you write. The Tanakama Sovar Aleph Aleph Da Azrech Eloi Mechayev Reb Shimon Sovar Kivin the Ise Bigol Gol Toirei Baal Mo Chayev. You find Aleph Aleph or Beis Beis, things that make zero sense in some of these kameas that are made by bad people. Rashi says certain kameas. So it is found. It is something. L'meimer the Reb Shimon l'chumra. So if so, Reb Shimon is the one that says that even Aleph Aleph is considered writing. And this will be a big problem with me because I was saying the whole time, the whole Masechta of Shimon l'shitasi is always mekel. Is mutter, everything is mutter when he argues with the Rebbe Yehuda. So how can you say over here that Shimon is machmer? That's not the Gemara's question. The Gemara's question is, V'tanya, hakudech kol shu chayav. If you make somewhat of a hole, you drill a small part of a hole, you don't go through and through, you chayav. Hamagar kol shu, if you scrape something which is a told of mimachik, smoothing something out. Hama'abit kol shu, and if you tan the hide a small amount, like we had a whole sugi about it, that has to be the size to write a kamei on it. Hatzar b'chli tzur kol shu, if you engrave anything on a kli. Reb Shimon oimer there's kuloi. He's machmer. He says, he says you have to go through and through. So he's mekel. Ad shigras kuloi. You're not chayiv until you go through and through. Ad shigras kuloi. Ad shiyav is kuloi. Ad shiyotz is kuloi. Kuloi. El Reb Shimon ha'as lashminan. He's not machmer.
Kuloi means here that what he intended to do to start with. That's the point.
Shigdach kuloi also. Let's see. Menachem is on his game today. So he's saying it goes on everything. Okay. Kuloi means through and through, but his kavanah was to do from beginning. His kavanah was to do the whole thing, and he stopped short. Shigir is kuloi, Achiyav is kuloi, Achiyotzer kuloi. El Shimon ha'as lashminu. Achiyichtoi v'sashem kuloi. He has to write the entire word. He intended to write Shimon. He has to finish it off. It's not enough to do two. Obviously, if you wanted to write the word shame, you'd be chayiv. That's why Rashi says his kavanah was to do the entire word. Says the Gemara, "We must say Sachi, v'tayim Shimon Omer v'asa achas yochal at shichtav v'sashem kuloi." Tamad Omer me'achas. Only part of it. You don't have to write the entire word. Says the Gemara, "Atar zvei ma'achi." You tell me Reb Shimon says he has to write the whole word. We just from daik. You don't have to write the whole word. Part of the word. Atar zvei ma'achi yochal at shichtav v'sapasuk kuloi. Tamad Omer me'achas. You don't have to write the entire pasuk. You have to write, though, the entire word. So if you had intent to write a whole pasuk, you don't have to write the whole pasuk. But if you had intent to write the whole word, obviously you have to write the whole word. Now, Taisa just makes a big nafkamina. He says there's a nafkamina between weaving. There's a whole list of things that we said that you don't have to finish it off. So he says, like we said over here, in this case, Reb Shimon holds you don't have to finish. Why? So Taisus makes an afkamina on a brand new thing. You just started out. Starting out, you don't have to do the whole thing. But something that is there already, then you have to finish it up. That's what he says. I don't know how he finishes. How does he explain writing? Ibud. He says. Making a hole in something that exists, you have to go through, you have to do the whole thing. Reb Yosi Omer, V'asa, now we're going back to that drasha. Reb Yosi Omer, V'asa achas, V'asa heino, heino means many, achas means one. Pam shechayev, achas al kulam, pam shechayev al kol achas v'achas. Sometimes you chayev one carbon for everything, and sometimes you chayev on each and everything. Or Reb Yosi my time, Reb Yosi, achas, me achas. It should say just achas. Why is there extra mem? Heino, me heino. Why does it say extra mem? Achashi heino, one that is from many. The heino shi achas. You go backwards and forwards. That what? Achas mishimoin. Me achas she mishimon. So from the mem, I learned this: that if a person wrote Shimon, he started writing Shimon, but he ended up writing Shin mem, like this, he's chayev. Now, what's the problem with this? When you look at this, what's the problem? Because when you write Shimon, you write Shin and a regular mem. And to write the word shame, you have to do, what do you guys call it? Mem sofit. End the mem? Nobody? I call it end the mem. I don't care about you guys. Mem sofit, fine. Wherever you go, they'll make fun of you. Say, end the mem. Fine. Mem sofit, tzioini, whatever. Depends on what place you go to. Zog the Gemara, achas mishimon me achas shem mishimon. Heina, what I learned from the word heina, avos. Meheina toldos. The word heina by itself means a av. Meheina, from the av comes a toldos. So I learned toldos. Here. So Shem Shimon and toldos. Now, if you forgot on each melacha that you forgot that that's also, you have to bring a carbon for each and every melacha. You forgot that it's Shabbos, so your Avera is one. Forgetting that it's Shabbos, you only bring one carbon, even though you did many, many melachas, bring one carbon. That's the basics of Masech Shabbos. We start off the Masechta like that. Oh, Rabbi Yehuda, Motzinu Shem Katan Mishem Gadol. Should we start the sugya? I guess so. Let's try to do some of it. Very easy. Mi Dami. Mem the Shem Sasum, but the mem of the word shame is a closed mem. Mem de Shimoin, Pasuach, it's open. Omer Rav Chizda, Zoysemeres, Sasum Vasoy Pasuach Kosher. You see from here that if you're supposed to make a mem sofit and the mem, but instead you do shin mem, like in the word Shimon, you're yaitza. Says the Gemara, Meisvei Uchsaf Tom, it says, Shtei Ksiva Tama, when you write tefillin and mezuzahs, they have to be perfect. Shlo Yichtav Alf and Einin. Rashi says something very interesting. Aleph and Ayin sound the same, so don't make a mistake and flip them over. The Rishonim say that an Aleph could look like an Ayin. Ayin, Alphin. Beis and Chafin. Don't switch a Beis with a Chaf, which is very similar, besides the bottom of the Beis sticks out a little bit. Chaf, Beis. Gamin, Sodin, Gamin. Don't confuse a Gimel with a Tzadik. Dalas and Rishon, and the Dalas looks like a Reish, because the top of the Dalas is a little sticking out. Reish and Dalatin. Hey and Chesen. A Hey and a Ches look the same, besides that the leg. So don't connect the leg of the Hey to the top. It look like a Ches, Hey. Vav and Yudin, don't extend the Vav down. If a Yud is shorter, Yud the Vav. Zayin and Nunin, here's a very interesting halacha, that if you look in the Sefer Torah, the Nun, Sofit, of, in the Sefer Torah, looks like this. Not like we do it, but it looks like a Zayin. It has a top from on the right and the left. Learn out from here. Zayin and Nunin, Nun, Zayin and Tessin, Papin, Tessin. In other words, a Tess, you could break it on the bottom, and it could look like a Pei and a Zayin. One side, if you split a Tess down the middle, one half will be a Pei, the other will be a Zayin. Kfufim, Shutim, don't take a Chaf, Pei, Tzadik, and a Nun, and make them straight. You know, end the Chaf, Chaf Sofit, Pei Sofit, Tzadik, Shutim, Kfufim. Mem and Samchin, don't close, the end of Mem, the Mem Sofit, looks like a Samach Sofit, is that how you call it? Samchin Memim. And here's the point. Stumim, Psuchim, Psuchim, Stumim. You cannot confuse a closed letter with an open letter. It says before, you're not allowed to close up a mem. Parsha Pstucha Lo Yaseno Stuma. And if you have an open parsha like this, it finishes off wide open. Do not close it like this box right over here. Stuma Lo Yaseno Ptucha. Ksav Kshira, if you ever looked in the Sefer Torah by Oz Yashir, it looks like this, boxes. You're not allowed to do this on a regular pasuk, and you're not allowed to do a regular pasuk when it comes to Shira. We're almost finished. Now, if you write it without ink, you do something else. You're not allowed to write anything with gold, but you would think that maybe I could write Hashem's name beautifully with gold. No. Hare Elu Gonzu. So we'll stop right over here. Okay, Huda Omar Kaitana, the Sanya Rebbe Seir Omer. We'll end here. The point is, this Brisa says what? We'll start. I'll review it tomorrow again. But we did. The halacha is that Pasuach and Sasum cannot be interchanged. He holds like the man Omar. You could interchange them. Are you ready? Malas. Shia Malas, Mama Kimo Sichadinoi. Shalom.